Welcome to the Lost Interviews with RAY SHASHO.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
And happy 2013 to you.
Yeah, same to you, man.
A belated 2013. Are you still in Oklahoma?
No, we're in Dallas right now. I just got up, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay.
I had to do this.
Well,
We drove here overnight.
oh, did you really? Wow. How long of a trip was that?
Well, we were up in the upper parts of Oklahoma, so it took about 6 hours.
About 6 hours, yeah. That's a pretty hefty commute after a show, huh?
Yeah, it was, but that's okay. I was happy to move on down the road.
Yeah. How was the show?
It was good. Well, all the shows have been going well.
Yeah, that was at a casino, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. How do you like playing the casinos?
Well, it's different. It's not like playing a regular public show, but a lot of them have got show places now.
Right.
I mean, it really depends on the casino. They've got some places you might as well be playing. It's not like playing a shed, but I mean, you're playing a public venue, and it's not just aimed at the people who are in there gambling and what have you. It's aimed at the public, and they basically turn them into showrooms.
Yeah, the showrooms are pretty big anyway. I mean, we got Hard Rock over here in Tampa, and then of course the one in Disney and in Hollywood, and those are those are big
That's a good
showrooms.
example of what I'm talking about. Those basically just big public showrooms.
Yeah, I've talked to Eric Burden. He loves doing those casinos. He does a lot of them.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Well, you're going to be down here Sunday, and you're going to be playing the Brew and Band's Brew and Barbecue at Busch Gardens on Sunday, and that's going to be a huge crowd. It always is. I've covered a lot of shows there. Just chatted with John Kay a few weeks ago about his show. He was just there, and it might be a little chilly there, Tom. It's a little cold here right now.
Is it really? It's been that way a little bit. Every place we've been, so it's freezing.
Yeah, we got a cold front. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's pretty cold. So you may want to keep track of the weather before you you may want to wear a coat or something. I don't know.
Well, I brought one, so yeah.
Okay, cool. You also got Petty Fest coming up, right?
I'm going to be doing that. Yeah, oddly enough, I'm playing a show in Hollywood, getting up the next day, flying home, and playing that same night in San Francisco.
Right. That's now. How many Petty Fests have there been? Like, is that pretty new?
I think it is. Yeah, I think there's only been. Well, no, I don't. Yeah, actually, I don't know. I mean, I know in California, I know there's been one.
Right.
They might have had some in New York or something like that before with Dylan Fest. Now it's Petty Fest.
That's a benefit for cancer. Is that right?
It's a benefit for Sweet Relief, which is
right.
a musician-based charity that takes care of players that have had, any number of things going on, be it a stroke, cancer, or whatever.
Oh, that's a great cause.
It is, and it's been very helpful. We've used it, for this band, and I know there's several other bands that have used it, and it's been a huge help.
Yeah, they really do need help. We got a guy, I don't know if you know Dan Toller. Dan was in the Allman Brothers, and he played with Dickie Betts, and Dickie Betts lives down here, but they're always doing charities for him because he's got what has he got? He's got one of the crippling, like a Lou Gehrig's type disease.
Oh, hell, that's
Yeah, and he's getting worse and worse every year, so they're always raising funds for him. Yeah.
Oh, they're a great organization. They really are. We've met with them a couple of times. They really help a lot of people.
Yeah, that's great. Musicians need help, and you know what? A lot of musicians can't get health care.
No, I imagine not.
Just because of their past. I'm friends with Joe Lala over here in Tampa, and I don't think he's got health care. We had a long chat about that. Yeah. So.
That's a drag.
It is a drag. A lot of musicians don't have health care, and they can't get it.
Well,
yeah.
Well, hopefully that's all going to change.
I hope so.
Yeah, it'll be really helpful.
Yeah. Were your parents very influential to you, or did they encourage you to get into music?
No.
No, not at all.
Anyway, my dad had a crop dusting shop in Tulare that my brother has now.
Right.
My mom was a school teacher and also helped my dad at his shop later on. And I mean, my mom played piano a little bit, but once in a blue moon, and my dad played saxophone, but I hardly ever saw him do it, and it was usually on mine when I brought it home from school.
Right.
But no, they didn't encourage me to get in the music business whatsoever.
So your dad probably wanted you to work with him in the shop, maybe, or?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not mechanically sound. Not my thing. But I did work over there for years, but just doing, clean up or working in a parts room, or I'd work on engines, but under the direction of somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. What would you be doing if you weren't in the music business? What direction do you think?
I was studying to be a graphic designer. In fact, one semester short of my degree, although nowadays I'd have to start all over again with computers and everything. But yeah, had the band not happened, I would have gone straight into graphic design.
Oh, now did you finish school for that?
I went to 4 years of college. I was one semester short because I got some bad advice on a design class I took that was called industrial design. And had I not taken that, had I taken something else, which I can't tell you what it was now,
Right.
I would have graduated with a BA in graphic design.
Ah. Well, you can always do that on the side. I know a lot of guys. Greg Rowley from Santana. He does a lot of architectural stuff. I think he wanted to be. Yeah, he wanted to be an architect, and he designed his house. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. So a lot of
I know Greg. I haven't seen him for a long time, but I know him pretty well.
Yeah, he was just on Ringo's tour.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, he made it to Ringo's tour. I think I had a little bit to do with that because at that time he was having a hard. When I talked to him, he was having a hard time getting gigs because of his band was so big, and it would cost too much money. And I kept telling him, I even mentioned Ringo's tour at that time. He wasn't even thinking about it. So, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Every time I talk to somebody, things happen. So,
That's a good thing.
yeah, it is a good thing. All right, we'll talk about the Doobies a little bit. I've seen the band perform probably 6 or 7 times since the early 70s. And the cool thing about the Doobie Brothers is you guys appear to be timeless. You play at the same energy level that you had when you first started. How do you maintain that tremendous work ethic you guys got?
I don't know. It just happens. It's one of those things that's organic. I can't really point to any one thing that causes it. It's just the way it is. Everybody has a good time on stage, and try to let the crowd share in that as much as possible, because the crowd is really what drives it.
Right.
And, we have fun playing, but if the crowd is up rocking, then everything works better.
So you guys got more of a laid back attitude when or is it? It doesn't seem like you got a real heavy business attitude when you show up at a gig or anything. Is that true, or is that you're more laid back?
Yeah, I don't know. I just go up there and play. I'm right about that. Whatever happens, happens.
I covered the Orlando Calling Fest when you guys were here, and I talked to John McPhee. It's funny, when he showed up, I was asking him about where's Pat, because I had just interviewed Pat, and he was saying, do you know where the stage is? And he just hung out. He says, no, I didn't travel with Pat. I mean, he was so laid back. He just showing up at a gig, we're ready to perform when you guys are, that kind of thing. I thought that was neat.
Right.
No pressure here.
Well, everybody puts pressure on themselves to play well.
Right.
As far as the business end of it, once you get to the show, that is the business end of it.
Do you feel that the pressure is not there anymore like it used to be, say, back in the 70s?
Oh, God, I don't know. Times have kind of changed as far as how crowds react and get up and have a good time. None of it's changed.
Right.
But, I didn't really ever feel pressure back in the old days either. It's just get up and play.
Yeah, I've heard some horror stories. I've talked to a lot of... I was a DJ back in the late 70s. I did top 40 radio. But, I talked to a lot of guys like from the 60s, like Mark Lindsay and Tommy James and those guys, and they were under huge pressure to put out the hits back then,
Really?
Yeah, it was
Not like any fun at all.
Yeah, you guys probably just missed that, being in the 70s, the early 70s and stuff, so... Good time.
Yeah, we just got up and played, It's always been that way.
Yeah, that's great. Are you finding some the younger crowd attending the shows now? Are they, the real young crowd?
We get a mixture. We get, preponderance is most people there are probably in their 30s, 40s, 50s, what have you. But I'm starting to see teenagers. Well, not starting. Actually, we've been seeing it for a while. There's teenagers that show up to the shows.
Right.
So we get a mix. Which is fine. It's great. I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, because the music scene today is I won't go there.
Yeah.
I won't go there. Being an ex-radio guy, I don't like it. Commercial. You got to go on, like Sirius, or something like that. But commercial radios is horrible. It's all dance music and. I just can't take the dance music anymore. I played the first rap song on the air back in 1979, which was "Rapper's Delight" by the Sugar Hill Gang. That's how old rap music is.
Wow.
It's been around a long time.
Yeah, it has. It's the test of time. I gotta give it credit. It really is.
Yeah, but it's time to move on.
And it is.
One thing I am afraid of is the rock and roll genre disappearing. I mean, I think it's really in jeopardy. What is your take on that?
I don't think it's in jeopardy. I think what's in jeopardy is just getting it available to people to hear. My son keeps me in touch with what's going on these days in rock and roll. He's a metalhead, and he tells me about all these bands I've never even heard of.
Right.
And they're playing clubs all over the place, and they're playing some fairly large venues too. And they have these huge fests, of course, and that's all metal. But he goes and sees R&B. He sees all kinds of music. I give him credit. I should just, but he's not just a metalhead. He sees every kind of music you can imagine, just about as far as the rock that it goes. And he's at Dr. John the other night, and it's just a matter of exposure and finding more independent labels that will facilitate that kind of music. Because the pop thing is sewed up, and that's going in one direction. The hot AC thing's pretty much sewed up and going in one direction. There's indie, but with the advent of using the internet to push your product, if you will, a lot of people playing whatever they want, getting it out to a fairly large amount of people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the tools are there. Electronics are there, It's a good thing. The bad thing, about YouTube is you guys don't get paid every time one of your songs come on, And then, again, people are recording shows with iPhones, and the quality is terrible. You know what I mean? But
yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, so it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, I guess.
Well, YouTube has become the way to make yourself instantly known to a large amount of people.
Right.
And it's good in that aspect. How it's recorded is another ballgame. And I mean, you can put up regular videos that have been recorded with Pro Tools and what have you, and really good sound and everything. Yeah. And also really good photography. And then you'll find people who just sit there and shoot them in their bedroom,
Yep.
Whatever device is handy to record it with.
Yep.
So that's all across the gamut. It's really a wide open thing out there, and a lot more people doing it than it used to be.
Now, are you guys using a lot of the new techniques as far as, are you recording at home, experimenting at home with some of the easier tools now to record, or are you pretty much traditional?
I have been for a while.
Have you?
Just for writing, it's not for recording out.
Right.
I use software and stuff like that all the time.
Yep.
As far as recording, it's like everybody uses Pro Tools. That's the state-of-the-art thing these days.
Right.
And, the thing about that is it's kind of been the demise of a lot of great studios. The strongest ones are still hanging in there. And they do, of course, have to utilize Pro Tools. Nobody uses it very much anymore. There's a few holdouts, but not many. But a lot of the studios that were huge for years they're not there. They're gone. Because you could literally record in your bedroom with Pro Tools, and sometimes just as good as if you were in a fantastic studio if you had the right gear.
That's amazing. That really is amazing. Yeah, you miss the traditional old ways of, I
like studios. I think studios are gas. I like working in them, yeah.
Now, your last album, you did that in the studio, right? With your...
Yeah, we did it in several studios, actually.
Yeah.
And a little bit at John's studio, which is pretty much a full-on studio, and then Pat did some work over in Hawaii. we did most of the basics were done in L.A. at Sunset Sound, and then we used various studios around L.A. to do overdub stuff, and then also up in the Bay Area we used Studio D in Sausalito to record a bunch of stuff.
I tell you, man.
We were.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Pat. I mean, Tom.
We were all over the place, as far as when we recorded it.
I got to tell you, World Gone Crazy was a terrific album. It's a breath of fresh air in today's music scene. It really is.
Well, we enjoyed making it. We took our time, we paid for it ourselves, and we just did it the way we wanted it to be.
And it was nice working with Ted again, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, are there future plans to do work with Ted again? And, when do you think a new album might be coming out again?
As far as a brand new album of all new tunes,
right?
We haven't even talked about it since. So we've been on the road a lot, and we've just been working. There's an album we're talking about doing right now. I can't really talk about it because I don't want to jinx it. Number one, number two, they ain't get it on the paper yet, so I wouldn't say this is a definite. But we might be doing an album with a bunch of other artists.
Oh, great!
But it's all Doobies tunes, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and you worked with Willie Nelson on the last one, right?
Well, Pat did, yeah.
Yeah.
We played quite a few shows with Willie because he lives over there now, and Pat lives over there as well.
Right. And, that's like the trend nowadays. A lot of artists are really doing a lot of collaborations, and they're also coming out with new albums under new band names, with other guys, which is really cool, especially in progressive rock,
Yeah.
I think that's great. I wouldn't mind seeing Tom Johnston do that with a couple of guys, That'd be kind of neat.
Well, you never know.
You never know, right?
Never know.
Especially R&B, because I know how much you love R&B.
Yeah, this is true.
Yep.
I've had a couple offers to do just that. I haven't got around to finding the time to do it, but...
Oh, you got a great voice for R&B. I mean, I could see you with some of the legends, doing
thank you.
That would be doing a lot of, I guess, covers, or I don't know, maybe some of your own stuff. So.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's just finding the time to do it.
Yep. Yeah, you guys are
making it a possibility.
You guys are on tour a lot. You're always on tour.
Well, we're not. Actually, this year we've kind of pulled it back. We were doing like 90 shows a year, and this year we pulled it back to around 70. So we're on the road enough, but it's. I kind of wanted to just back off just
right,
because we were on the road all the time, and when we put that album out, we did like over 100 shows a year, and in a very short period of time, we did that like 6 months.
Yeah,
and that included Europe and Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Canada, all the United States about 10 times. It's just too much of a burnout.
Yeah, well, a lot of guys are tapering down a lot. I mean, John Kay just told me, and he's a little bit older than you, but he's only going to do maybe 10 shows a year because he's devoting all his time to his foundation,
Oh, good, man.
Yeah, and, I talked to Lou Gramm. Lou Gramm's winding down. He just has his solo stuff now. He's not going to do anything else with Foreigner anymore. That's pretty much done.
Right.
And people are happy. Greg Lake from Everest Lake and Palmer, he does, he's winding down. All these guys are winding down a little bit. And why not? I talked to Roger McGuinn, same thing. He'll do a show once in a while. But you guys got so much energy. You guys can go for another 20 years if you wanted to.
We could. We definitely could. I don't know. We'll see how this all plays out. At this point, we're just kind of content to do what we're doing.
Right. Well, I love the tunes you wrote on World Gone Crazy. My favorite tune, of course, is Nobody. But Young Man's Game, talk about that tune. That writing that?
It's just kind of poking fun, I guess. It's just, more or less, being out here doing it this long and seeing the kids coming up and
right,
basically semi-reminding them of where it all came from. But it really is kind of tongue-in-cheek.
It's a good song. I like it.
I had fun writing the song. It was good.
I like it.
I had fun doing all the songs on this album. I really did. I enjoyed it. That was some of them I got to go in places I hadn't gone before. And, try things I hadn't tried before, which was good. I enjoyed that as well.
And how about Law Dogs? I mean, that's
that's one of them.
Yeah,
that's definitely. I'm not usually a slide guy, but I thought I'd try writing on slide. That worked pretty well.
Man, you're good at it.
Well, I had a lot of help from John too. I mean, I can do the basic to that. And I wrote it, but all the fancy stuff is all John.
Really, yeah, John is so talented, man. He was a perfect addition to the band when he came aboard. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the cover of that's Robert Johnston, right? On the cover of the album.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I believe so. Yeah, it's off a painting in New Orleans somewhere.
Right.
And John, oddly enough, had taken a picture of that at some point in time and remembered it. And they tracked down the guy that painted it and asked him if he would allow us to use it for an album cover. And he said, "Sure, go ahead." So we did.
It's amazing how many people I've been talking to that they're all of a sudden reverting back to Robert Johnston. Everybody's talking about Robert Johnston nowadays, and maybe that's a hint that, hey man, let's get rock and roll swinging again, you know, and I mean in the limelight like it used to be, you know. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't know that Robert ever went away. He kind of got quiet maybe as far as I've been hearing about Robert since I was, I don't know, 20 years old anyway.
Yep.
And yeah, a blues renaissance is trying to happen. I hope it does. I think Sirius Radio is probably the biggest booster, and that's been really great. Sirius Radio has been really great for that, for a lot of genres, and because you can go there and listen to all these people you'd never hear anywhere else.
Right.
Like what FM radio used to be. Yeah, you got to pay for it, but at least you get to hear it.
Yeah.
And so I'm a booster of Sirius XM now that they've gotten together. And yeah, there's a lot of good music out there that it's still getting played, man. I mean, it's like running into all the folks down here in the Southern Rock scene, man. I just said, got the Doobie Brothers, or Government Mule, or Derek Trucks and his wife, and they're putting out phenomenal stuff, man.
Yeah, and it's really popular, especially down here. You know, I mean, you know, these guys have no problem drawing huge crowds. You know.
Well, it's a good thing. It's been doing this a long time, and it's gratifying to get out and see a lot of faces in the audience, and also to get a really great response, have people up and moving around and rocking, and that's why we do it.
Yep, exactly. I'm very grateful that you guys are still doing it. I don't know what I'd do if the Doobie Brothers weren't around anymore, you know?
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Still here.
My favorite tune that you wrote from past songs is definitely Another Park, Another Sunday. I love that song. I mean, and of course I like all the traditional tunes, but there's just something about that song. That was about an ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, it was at the time.
Yep.
Been a while ago, but yeah, that's what it was.
I bet the wife is, does she know about that?
Oh, she didn't care.
She didn't care. As long as it's making money, right?
Yeah, it was beforehand, you know. You can't get mad at somebody for something you did before you knew somebody.
Yeah, exactly. I told Pat I loved, Clear as the Driven Snow. That's my other tune that I love from the Doobies.
We've been playing that live.
Yeah, I've seen you do that. That's a great song.
Yeah, I do. I like it a lot.
It's an incredible song.
We're going to be doing a rehearsal here this week where we're going to work in some new stuff that we haven't played in forever in a day and see how it applies with the crowd.
Right.
So when we see you, we probably will be playing some of that stuff.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, something new.
Yep. Do you have a good story from back in the day, or like a funny road story that you can?
They're all funny.
I know they're all funny, right?
Either that or a mess. I don't have any specific one. I mean, there's always the one where the plane was going down Detroit in a huge storm, and we lost an engine, and we thought we were going to lose. That was going to be it. And our pilot pulled us out. It kind of reminded me the scene in Almost Famous. It's very much like that as far as the plane screwing up. And we did lose an engine, and Jeff was up flying at the time, and luckily Sam took over and got us landed.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
That is. What year was that?
I don't know, 74 probably. Yeah, say 74.
I don't remember that ever being reported. Was it in the news?
I don't think it was. We got through it and went on. You know, it's just, we went through a lot of crazy things, but everybody else did too. So, you know.
Wow. Yeah, Lou Graham told me that they accidentally left Mick Jones.
I've heard of those stories.
Did you hear that one?
300 times I've heard that. Or the plane has gone out, or they left the guy that's at the hotel. Or whatever. I've heard that a lot.
That they had to call his brother or something in England, you know,
Wow.
and then from England they had to call the band, and it was a mess. And
Right.
yeah, I love these stories though; they're great.
Yeah.
You know, I just saw you on YouTube. YouTube is kind of cool though, because boom, you got anything you want. I saw you do an interview with oh my gosh, what is the matter with me? I'm losing it now. Dick Clark, and this was
Oh my God.
this was 1980, and this is when you were doing your solo. You had your solo album come out, and you just left the Doobies because I guess there was a big music change there. You didn't like the way the music was headed, but it's so cool.
That's not really why I left, because I just wanted to get off the road.
Is that what it was?
77, and didn't do any music for like about a year.
Right.
And then I slowly started drifting back to it, and then I put out my first solo album and toured on it. Then I put out another solo album and toured on that.
So, and I loved your look. You had a beard back then, and Dick Clark kept telling you that you look like Burt Reynolds.
He was really a nice guy. It's too bad that he passed away. I really enjoyed working with him. What little I did, I mean, that was the only time I was ever around him. But he was really a gentleman.
Yep. Yeah, I've heard great things about him, and I've heard great things about Don Kirshner as well from Kansas. Talking to those guys. I just talked to Phil recently. But you know, I think that's what we're missing nowadays is those innovators. You know, the pioneers, those kind of guys. You know.
Yeah, the atmosphere's changed so much. It's I'm sure they're out there. I'm not aware of them, but that doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah.
There are probably people out there doing things as far as actually having shows where people can go perform on TV. I don't think that's going on anymore. If it is, I'm not aware of it. At least not in the sense. I don't mean like award shows. I mean, you know, like what you're talking about, rock concert or
Right.
band concert or any of that, or Friday night special or any of that stuff. All that kind of shows. There's nothing like that going on anymore.
Yeah, they had. I guess what Austin City Limits was to me the last thing I can remember that did anything like that.
Yeah, that's exactly a good example. Although they still have, I'm told. I mean, we played at the Austin City Limits place where that
Right.
show was there, and I'm told they're still recording them.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. All right, we just need somebody to take the reins, you know. And it's probably gonna have to be somebody with lots of money, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need some tips. Everything is about that.
Yeah, it is.
It's money driven, and it's always been money driven, but now so more than ever.
Yeah.
Much more than ever.
You know what's sad is I just talked to Billy. Remember Billy J. Kramer from the Dakotas? From
I never knew him. I know who you're talking about.
yeah, and you know Brian Epstein is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he's really mad because he was his.
Yeah, I read something about that.
What is your take on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I don't have a good opinion about it, but I'll let you. I'd like to hear yours.
It is what it is. You know, man. It's like any other thing. You know, people have their favorites or they have what they like as far as music goes, or what they think is supposed to be in there, and they're going to put in who they want to put in.
Yeah, it's a lot of cronyism that's going on there, unfortunately. And there's a lot of groups that get in there that they're not rock and roll. You know, I'm mentioning guys like the Beastie Boys. I don't know why those guys are in. You know, and there's so many great artists that aren't in there. And
I just kind of stay away from that one, to be honest.
Right.
With you. It is what it is, and I'm not going to have any influence over them. Whatever they want to do, they're going to do. So.
Yeah, I just think it should be like a people's choice thing, because if it was, you guys would have been in probably 10 years ago. You know.
Right.
I wanted to ask you about your daughter. Just did a thing. What was it with MTV?
Who's that?
Your daughter, didn't she do a stint or something on?
She did. That's been a while ago now. If you're talking about the.
Was it Rock the Cradle or something like that?
Rock the Cradle, yeah, it was like 2007.
Yeah.
She's in the business, and she's recording a lot of tunes, and she's trying to make it out there. She's not banging away doing anything. And it's much harder these days than it used to be, I can tell you that.
Are you helping her out
She has
at all?
an incredible voice, she really does. And she works at it tirelessly, and she's always practicing. She's really got a great voice, and she's doing gigs, and she's finishing up school this year, and I guess going to go take it on in earnest. Although she has been so far, she's like I said, she's already recorded the whole album with the tunes. There's a lot of people out there doing that these days.
Yep.
A lot of people out there doing that, and I hope for her sake she does on one end of it. And I said, you got to realize that this is not an easy business.
Right.
And so, I told her I would back her all the way if she wants to do it.
That's awesome.
But it's a lot more people trying to do it now than it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And the problem was that, back in the 60s, 70s, I mean, it was really in demand. And, I mean, there would be people just scouting garage bands looking for people, especially in Detroit, in Michigan and stuff like that.
No, they don't have to scout anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody's banging on the door. I mean, everybody's banging on the door. And there's not the label availability there used to be.
Yeah. That really...
if you're going to show up, you better show up with a lot of interest. So that's part of the deal.
It really shrunk, didn't it? There's hardly any record companies anymore that like there used to be. A lot of independent labels.
A lot of that's due to the internet. Yeah, I'm not blaming the internet. I'm just saying the record companies should have got on board with the internet a lot more. And
yep.
They utilize it. Don't get me wrong. They do utilize it.
Right.
And it's just as to why there's so many companies went down. I'm not really sure.
Huh.
To be honest with you, I mean, everything has changed. The whole business is different than what it used to be.
Yeah.
Run entirely different. It's different kind of folks running the show, and everything's changed.
What kind of music does your daughter sing? What kind of genre?
She's singing what she calls pop soul. I mean, she grew up singing R&B, but that was her choice. I didn't make her do that. She's kind of like gotten to this thing where it's a cross between, it's her own thing, but it's like a cross between anybody from Pink to God, I really don't know. I'd be hard pressed to think. I've never been asked that question before. Kind of a lot. It's just Laura, I mean, she sounds like who she sounds like. She has a very distinctive sounding voice.
Right.
And she's, as I said, she's really, really worked herself hard to get where she is now. I mean, she's tirelessly, like hours a day singing and gigging as much as she possibly can, and she's won various awards, and she's, we've had a gazillion people that have showed up banging on the door wanting to do something, the kind of folks that you don't want to do something with. So, it's getting in with the majors. I've had some of her songs actually given some airtime on radio, just briefly, just to see how they would, what it would go like with the crowd situation. I mean,
right.
The crowd would think of it, and they've all responded very, very, very positively. So it's just a matter of getting the backers into this whole thing. It's really what it's all about, man.
One place that always comes to mind with some great players, and it seems like everybody, it's like the hub in the United States right now is Nashville. No matter if
Nashville is probably a lot easier to get someplace in. I'm not saying it's easy.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, but it's easier than trying to get in the LA scene or something like that. It's just not as crowded, although it's getting crowded. It's amazing to me how many guys I know that have moved to Nashville now that are, not in the country scene, but just, musicians. There's just tons of people that moved to Nashville. And there's a huge music scene going on there.
Oh, the players are incredible, I mean,
they're all over the place. That's the only part that would worry me. If I was a musician, there's so many great players there. That's, where do you find a gig? But, it's really doing a lot of business in that town.
Well, I wish her a lot of luck. I hope she breaks through and makes it, because with your influence and background and maybe a little R&B thrown in there, that'd be great to see some nice good fresh talent like that.
Well, we certainly hope so. You can always go check her out on her website.
Yep. Now, does she have an album out? A CD out?
She didn't have it out yet. We haven't actually pressed it.
Okay.
At this point, it's just available online.
Right. You guys have lost a lot of friends in the band recently, and one guy's Mike Hosick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a Mike Hosick moment after you guys were at the Van Weasel here in Sarasota. I actually hung out with Mike, me and a couple other guys, and we went up to his room and spent 3 hours on the internet trying to figure out what state had the most beef cattle.
Wow.
I mean, he
You guys had quite a high old time.
yeah, we were cracking up. He says, whatever happened to the days of the women in the room and the drinking and partying? Here we are with one little laptop just doing some trivia,
Those days are gone, I guess.
I guess. But what a nice guy. I mean, he was a great guy. Really good guy.
He was. We've lost a few over the years.
Yep.
I'm afraid that's going to happen, though.
I know, but you don't expect them to go so, at an early age,
No, you don't. And without getting off into that maudlin subject, I know lots of people that aren't in this band that's really happened with.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of friends. I've lost a few friends to cancer at my age, and it just seems like cancer is running rampant. I don't know what's.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the big one. I keep finding about it every day that somebody new has just acquired it. That's a drag.
Yeah, something's going on. How's Skylark?
He's doing pretty good. I mean, he's living in Las Vegas, and he's keeps his spirits up. He's probably one of the strongest guys I've ever met, spirit-wise. Man, the guy is just determined, and I really admire him for that. He's, as to whether he'll ever play again, I don't know.
Right.
I really don't know. Kind of hard to say. That's another thing that I've been hearing about is people doing that. But I don't want to get off that. You're going to keep your interview up. But Skylar's doing well, and I'm very proud of him. He's doing great.
Right. Well, that's I haven't heard about him for a while, so we just want to keep updated with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got one final question for you, and I'm going to be promoting the show. I'm going to talk about the old album, the last album, and you got a new DVD, right? The Let the Music Play.
Yeah, we did. As a matter of fact, it came out about 2 months ago or something.
Story of the Doobie Brothers. That's a great CD. We're going to promote that a lot. But one of my favorite CDs, I'm originally from the D.C. area, and I've always loved your CD at Wolf Trap. To me, that was a great show.
It's a really good DVD, really well recorded. That's probably one of the best things we've ever done.
Yep.
I really enjoyed that.
Here's your.
Also a great venue, I got to say. That's a neat place to play.
Yeah, it is. That and Merriweather was always a good place in that area. I've been to thousands of concerts back then in that area. That's a great music scene in D.C. It always has been.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Here's the final question for you, and I ask everybody this question, okay? If you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie Field of Dreams, to play or collaborate with anyone from the past or the present, who would that be?
Okay. Wow. That's tough. That's a hard answer. That's a hard question to answer because, for me, that's a lot of people.
Right.
It's not just a guy. Oh boy. Well, let me see if I can narrow one down for today. I think for today, I would get a kick out of working with Otis Redding.
Otis Redding?
Otis Redding.
Yep, that's a good answer. Yep. Good answer. The number one answer is Robert Johnson.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
John Kay said Hank Williams. Billy J. Kramer said John Lennon. He never actually got to. I mean, he sang his tunes. They gave him all. Lennon and McCartney gave him a lot of songs when he first started and everything, but never got to sing with him. But
Right.
yeah, but Robert Johnson was number one.
Wow.
Yep. Pretty cool.
Well, that's fine. That's a good thing, man. I think I'll take that as a positive. I think if that's number one, then that's all right by me. Man.
Yep. You're the first one who said Otis Redding. Maria Maldar told me Al Green, believe it or not. She's
Al's ready to be another one. Yeah, he'd be fun too.
yeah. I like to see you and Al Green.
Yeah, I'd like to work with Eric Clapton. There's a lot of people I'd like to work with. I mean, there's some old blues cats I'd like to work with.
Right.
But today, that's who I'm going with because I absolutely love Otis Redding.
You mentioned Dr. John. You just saw a show, Dr. John show?
I didn't see it, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because I'm out here.
Yep.
Actually, my whole family went and saw him over in Yoshi's in Oakland. We played over there for a couple of nights.
Mm-hmm.
He comes through every year, I think. We played a show with him a couple of years ago down in Mobile. And that's really, quite literally, the only time I got to watch him live, and he's incredible.
He is incredible. I just talked to him about 3 weeks ago. It was one of the toughest interviews because he's very hard to understand. Yeah, and he talks very
Cajun thing going on.
Cajun thing, talks very slow, and the only 2 interviews I've had a hard time with was him and Johnny Winter because Johnny Winter just doesn't talk too much.
Yeah, that would make it tough. Yeah, that's an understanding that would be a problem. I used to know Johnny a long time ago. He's a good guy. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yep. But yeah, Johnny Winter's doing really well now. He's his manager there has been helping him out a lot with kicking, the pain pills and all that other stuff, and he's starting to stand up again. For a long time he could only sit.
I'll be tired.
Yeah.
Well, good, man. I'm glad he's doing well.
He's doing well. Yeah. Tom, I want to thank you for being on the call today, and more importantly, man, for all the great music you've given to us throughout the years. We really appreciate what you've done. And we're looking forward to a lot more great music from you and the Doobies. And definitely we'll see you in Tampa on Sunday.
You got a deal. We'll be there.
All right, man. Take care.
You too. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining, and please subscribe to Ray's YouTube channel.